You know, one thing I wanted to bring up, though, speaking of infrastructure, so the recent emergence and creation of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, you know, 49, 50 nations now have signed on. The U.S. decided not to, and in fact suggested that the U.K. in being a founding member was, you know, once again, you know, being too accommodating to China. Do you think that we would have been better served by being on board with that?
A point I make in my book on China, Dealing with China, on the section that deals with my work as Treasury Secretary, setting up the strategic economic dialogue, I worked hard to bring China into the Inter-American Development Bank, bringing them into an established multilateral bank, into the rules-based system. I think that's very important. I also think it's very important when China takes an initiative, because they now are a significant player, that we figure out ways to work with them so we can make the case for and press for the very, very highest standards.
But we didn't here.
Now, when you look at infrastructure, we didn't here. And when you look at infrastructure, it's also very important that we need to update and transform our existing multilateral banks so they're good in infrastructure lending. I think few people recognize that the Chinese are the leaders in infrastructure funding. The Chinese Ex-Im Bank and the Chinese Development Bank does much more infrastructure lending than any of the existing banks. And so to work with them in a multilateral setting is a right way to proceed.
And so that was a mistake, in your view?
In my view, the right thing to do was to work with the Chinese and push for higher standards. I think we want to join forces in instances like this.